2, 1. Presto. Hey, we live? We'll check. We will check to see if we are live. Are we alive? I have no idea. But we will find out. We will find out. How's the volume? Test 1, 2, 3. Alright. Yeah, they're getting the echo because I had the volume on. So, anyways. Alright. I can deal with that. I'll just stick that up over here. Out of the way. Hey, welcome to the podcast number 2. Podcast number 1 was done through StreamYards because I really wanted to test out the functionality of StreamYards, of inviting other people. Now I'm back on OBS streaming, which you can do all sorts of funky stuff like what you see. So it's kind of interesting. I know you could do a lot of stuff in StreamYards, but you gotta pay for it, whereas OBS is completely free and you get all sorts of, you can do all sorts of stuff like what you're seeing now. So that's kind of cool. There's still a lot, well, maybe not a lot. There's still some things I'd like to add to this eventually. But for right now, this is like baseline. Kind of like, you know, throwing it out there. Do I like the format? How do I tweak the format? You know, things like that. I do like the wanted poster. So, and I also have to remember to look at the camera and not straight at the screen. I also wish there was a way to actually do that where the camera's not up higher, but if I put the camera on one of those booms, right? Those kind of like scissor booms, it puts it off to the side. So then I'm either looking this way or I'm looking that way. And then worst part of where to put it is right there under it, which, you know, I'm going like this and never looking up, right? So yeah, it's kind of weird that way. So. But yeah, this is another test, just like the last one. I wanted to make sure that the OBS side was set up for streaming. And right now, through StreamYards, I was getting the connection wasn't that great. But so far on OBS, 0 dropped frames and a very low CPU usage. Like we're talking 7.8 in there. Now mind you, this is I capped it at 30 frames. So I mean, we're not talking like, you know, 60 FPS or more, you know, at 4K resolution. No, nothing like that. I believe this is either no, I think this is 1080. I think I have it set to 1080. The audio is the only thing that really messes me up. Because on my end, and it might end up being in the stream as well, that it's like a hollow, like just a faint, like hollow sound, right? I'm not entirely sure. I've adjusted the decimal levels of the audio input, which is coming from the webcam. And then of course there's desktop audio, which I'm not entirely sure if I need desktop audio while I'm doing this, or I don't know. I don't have a clue. But this is what, 11:29, 11:30 basically, on a Sunday. I did some more calculating, and now I'm thinking that I probably should put in the west side window in the shed before I start putting insulation in. Because mind you, even if I did insulation, I can only do one wall at a time per month. It's just the way it works out. So in doing that, I could do the east wall and get it done, right? But, and that's a big but, if I get the window in, the second, at least the second window, because there's going to be a total of 3 in the shed, right? In the workshop. Actually, it's going to be a workshop. It's not going to be a shed anymore. I am expanding, by the way. So I'll get into that in more in depth, probably in another video. Probably not a live stream, because I'll just do it, you know, as part of the actual like motorcycle video, because it does kind of hinge on that, you know. So I am kind of like logging them together, or I might put it under the family time playlist. I don't know. Either way, there will be a video about an addition to the shed, and it'll be an 8x8 addition. So I look forward to doing that, because I think that's going to be fun. We'll get that taken care of, and then we'll be expanding the space. I think I'll do the expansion lengthwise, because you got 8 by 12. So if I put another 8 on the 12, right? So it makes it look like a bigger rectangle, or sorry, a longer rectangle type deal. I should be able to put in everything we need in there. The lawnmower, the snowblower. I mean, everything fits now, but as it stands, every time I have to work on the bike, I have to pull out the lawnmower, the snowblower, you know, and get it out of the way. Work on the bike. And when I'm done, then, you know, put it back into the shed, into like a Tetris formation. So if I had more room, you know, I wouldn't have to do that. So that's what I'm thinking. But the addition will not happen this year. The addition will happen next year, and that'll be kind of like another main focus. Again, I'm not entirely set into like an insane rush on the bike, because again, I want to work on it with my boy Chris. It's his bike, so I don't want to take all the glory and thunder from him. So yeah, we'll definitely, we'll see. But I get really excited when it comes to getting greasy and swinging a wrench. So sometimes I have to kind of like, whoa, pull back the reins. This isn't your bike. This is your boy's bike now. So, and that does bring me up to another topic that I'll spit out here in a sec. But staying on topic with the shed, I'd like to put in another window, so that would be September. So that would be me putting in the second window. I'll have that nice cross breeze. Of course, again, we're coming on colder temps. It was like, I don't know, it was upper 30s, low 40s this morning. So, you know, it's coming. And with in North Dakota, it comes pretty fast. So, but I'd like to get that second window in just for natural light purposes and cross ventilation. Once I get that in there, then I can start kind of like figuring out the insulation. As it stands, there's kind of 2 options I can go with. I can go with the radiant reflective insulation, which is like that thick, right? And it looks, you know, it's basically like tinfoil, but like, you know, tinfoil bubble wrap kind of stuff. I could go with that, seeing that this is a shed, but and the R factor is what tripped me out. Now the R factor it says R21, but I'm thinking they might have type that, because I've never seen that type of radiant insulation be that high of an R factor. I think they might have meant 2.1. I don't know. I'm not an insulation guy, so I'm still doing research on it. But it just doesn't seem like it would give that type of R factor. The other option, which is the option I think I'll probably end up taking, is the faced insulation, which is R13. That's your standard home insulation. So, and with the cost of the insulation, I can probably do one wall at a time per month. So, if I did the window in September, I could start the east wall in October, get that done. I can do the west wall in November, and with any luck, we're not, piled with snow or in the extreme temperatures. Normally we're not, so it's still cold as yeah, it's cold. I was going to throw out an analogy, but it's not appropriate. But it's cold. So now we're into December. So we have window September, insulation October, November, 2 walls, right? That still leaves the front where the doors are, the back wall, which is only 8 feet, and the roof. So for December, I could choose to go front or back or roof. Or just be like, you know what? It's good enough for the winter, right? I've got the natural light. Let me get the LED shop lights in. I grew up with him, so I call him a brother. So my brother Todd, shout out. Well, he's actually got a channel. I have to see how I can post a link to his channel. Anyways, and I hope he's watching too. Oh shoot! Now I just forgot. You know when you have a brain fart, it's like you just lose everything. That just happened. I went off on a tangent, squirrel mode, and oh my god! Oh, more Gatorade. That's what it needs. Hey, firefighter. Gatorade. Huh? He knows what I'm talking about. He's an addict with those energy drinks, Monster energy drinks. Good Lord. He's got to stop, man. I'm going to bug him. I'm going to keep bugging him. We got to keep him around a long time. Oh my God, I am way off target. Holy cow. Oh, so December. Yeah, so December, I would probably end up getting that a heater, which I'm definitely going to need. What else? I know there was something else. There was a heater. Oh, the electrical boxes, the LED lights, the switches. Because what I'm going to do in the house is that one of the breakers can be turned into a split breaker, and I would connect and hardwire the shed for direct power from the house with a split breaker. So if I overpower, the breaker, only that side's going to trip, in theory. So at least that's what I've been told by an electrician, and he was the one that steered me towards getting a dual breaker, and that way you could connect one side to the shed, the other side to wherever it is in the house. So whatever I'm doing out there isn't going to interfere with the house at all. It'll just trip its own breaker. So that's the goal. That's the goal. but I don't think I'm going to be doing it in December. Now, there was two ways to run the wire. There was the underground method in conduit, or I can run it externally, basically from the corner of the shed to the corner of the house, run the wires in a conduit under the eaves, and our eaves are like 3 feet, right, or 2.5, whatever the hell it is. They're not little, right? They're big. So I can run it right in the corner of the eaves and right straight down in with the rest of the power, where the power goes in at the corner of the house, pop back in right behind where the breaker box is. It sounds easy. Yeah, we'll see. I can do that possibly at the beginning of December, but not mid to late December. Mid to late December, that's when we're getting thumped with cold weather like nobody's business, and of course snow. So I am battling against time when it comes to getting the shed to a point where I can work on the bike throughout the rest of the winter. Because I don't need the entire shed insulated. I know that sounds odd, but for this winter, I'm not looking for complete coverage. I'm just looking for enough where if I bring out a small heater, it's gonna heat up and it's gonna stay warm while I'm out there, and that's all I'm looking for the first winter, if I wanted to go that route. Even if I just wanted to do interior stuff, like the walls of the shed are going to be done using pallet wood, or at least that's an option. The other option is that I just go ahead and I use that chipboard. Right? You can buy them at any hardware store. No, hardware store. You can buy them at any store like Lowe's, Menards, Home Depots, whatever, right? And you can get them in full 4x8 sheets. You can get them in 4x4 sheets. 4x4 sheets would probably be better for me because we don't have a trailer, we don't have a truck, right? We have an SUV, and I can fold the back seats down and shove those in. So if I wanted to go that route, I could. I guess it's easier, but again, it's a cost, right? Whereas pallet wood, I can get free pallets pretty much anywhere. Businesses give away free pallets all the time. All you do is just go there, pick them up, and take them away, and it gets rid of their headache, right? So that could be a thing that we do. What else? Yes. Wi-Fi extender / booster, because they're kind of both named the same, Wi-Fi booster, Wi-Fi extender. They both do the same thing, and what it is it's a unit, small little unit with some antennas. You plug it into an outlet, and it's in theory it's supposed to boost your signal from the modem. Now down here in the dungeon, which was the X-Man cave. I am, like I said, in the basement on the other side of where the modem is upstairs. So there's the connection down here is just crappy, right? So having one down here would definitely help the connection for this. But I want one out there in the shed as well, because I'd love to be able to live stream out there, but I can't. I tried once last year, might have been last year, or maybe even early this year. I have no idea. I can't remember. But the connection was so bad, it was lagging left and right, and the quality was blurred, because it just couldn't push the signal. It couldn't grab the signal very good in the back of the property, right? And I didn't really expect much when I did it in the first place. So we definitely need one of those. So between now and deep winter, let's just say between now and December, I'd love to get an Wi-Fi booster / extender, and get one so that with my power strip I got out there, which is a surge protected power strip. It's a new one. Um, I could plug it into that, at least for that day, while I'm working in the shed or on the bike, and with any luck, I can, do some live streaming out there. Or just continue to make videos. Either way works for me, but it would be nice to kind of live stream and just sit next to the bike and just have you guys just join in, right? Kind of like today, right? Just joining in, and this is my journey. God, I went from Rascal to American Outlaw, back to Rascal, and now Rascal the American Outlaw. It's a journey like a roller coaster from hell. Okay, buckle up, because that's what you're gonna get from me on this channel. Yeah. So, oh hey, Old Mac, how you doing, Old Mac? How's it going? I can hear the sounds of eagles and rattlesnakes, and the tune from the movie Fistful of Dollars. Don't forget its sequel for a few dollars more. I watched those growing up. Absolutely love those movies. I know they were like spaghetti westerns, but they were still cool. I am only wanted when the lawn needs mowing or to kill a spider, right? Right? I'm not using StreamYards today, old Mac. I am using OBS just because I needed to set it up to be able to live stream, and I don't have it completely set up the way I want it because there's supposed to be background music, there's an intro, there's an outro, which I do not have. I have the spot in OBS for it. I just haven't made it yet. That'll come eventually. I think the intro and the outro need to be at first I was thinking, some really cool stuff that, you can find free on the internet, videos and things like that, and maybe put some text to it. But I was like, nah, I wanted a little bit more homegrown. You know what I mean? So I think I'm going to have to dig into my non-editing skills to be able to put together a decent intro video and outro video. And I just might get into editing videos like Firefighter and like what you do and like Motobomb, right? Motobomb Virginia. Shout out. Shout out Old Mac. But they like Firefighter. He absolutely geeks out over video editing. I do not. I am a record and put it up. I'm fire and forget, right? An old military term. Fire and forget. That's me. I make a video, huck it up there, good, bad, ugly, don't care. There it goes. Come back soon. But yeah, where is it? That way. That way. There we go. Right up there. I put the Wild West just got wilder. It came, I don't know, it just came to me, and I was like, yeah. Now, mind you, I not only live in the Wild West, even though it's North Dakota, but there's a lot of Western history, cowboy history up here. But I've always been a fan of Zane Grey, Louis L'Amour, those authors, and reading westerns all my life growing up, even as a kid. Matter of fact, where is it? Oh, I don't have it in here. I had. Oh, I bet you it's upstairs. The first Louis L'Amour book that I ever read was High Lonesome. So if you ever want, and that's what got me hooked. And I read that back when I was 9 or 10 at the time. I read that, and it's just an old, mass paperback kind of thing. Something you'd see like that in the airport. Those little books that you can read while you're waiting. Anyways, I read that and I was just hooked. I thought that was like the coolest story. The High Lonesome, Louis L'Amour. Check it out. I do have a very special book uh, that it's beat up, but it's a classic. And do I like audiobooks? Depends. I do listen to them, but only like it has to be. I have to be like in the mood. I like physical copies. Now you'll see this is in rough shape. This is a Zane Grey book, and if I remember correctly, where are you tonight? Why did you leave me here all alone? Why, I searched the world over and thought I found true love. You met another and you were gone. Oh, come on. Hee-haw! Huh? You guys telling you. Anyways, this right here, copyrighted 1933. Old book. Looks, the smell, I mean, you know, it's barely hanging on for dear life. It's a Zane Grey novel called The Hash Knife Outfit. So if you guys ever want to read some westerns, Louis L'Amour, The High Lonesome, Zane Grey, The Hash Knife Outfit. So, I keep this around, and I have read it, but it is in rough shape. But a good read nonetheless. Now you can get this on Amazon, not this copy. You would get an updated, published copy that's been published like within the last 10, 20 years, whatever. I have looked for this exact one that, you know, and of course this is only one print off from the original. The original was 1929, and this print was the second print in 1933. So I want to keep it good. I want to keep it good. Now, mind you, this is 2025. So think about this. In 8 years, I know this is going to be crazy. In 8 years, this book is 100 years old. So something that the kids, you know, can fight over when my body is collecting worms. So, speaking of books, magazines. Somebody had told me on one of Motobomb's live streams, because I think they were talking magazines. Anyways, topic came up, and I said, you know, I'm a tactile type of guy, man. I don't like virtual magazines. I said, I'm not into it. I'm not into my phone, and I try and stay away from my phone as much as possible unless I'm taking like videos or something like that. But and it ticks the family off because they're like, he never answers his phone. There are reasons, because I usually don't have it on me, and I almost never have it like on. Chances are I probably will be getting a call soon, so I won't stay on too much longer. But I did look up a magazine company called no, somebody told me about it, and then I looked it up. Was it Cycle Source? Hang on. Yeah, Cycle Source. Yeah. Yeah, see? 1 year printing, subscription, $40 for a year. You get six issues. And that, you probably just saw that. That was, I don't know if that came out like looking backwards or anything like that, but Cycle Source magazine. So there's that magazine that is out and about. So that's something that I'm looking into as well. It's weird though, you know. Um, you wouldn't think it would take so long to get, but when I went through, I haven't subscribed to it yet, but I wanted to see some certain things about it, and it said, you know, your first when you subscribe, you know, your first issue should arrive between 8 and 12 weeks. I was like, dang, dude, what are you like, hand writing it per magazine or something? 8 to 12 weeks, holy buckets, man. That's a bit long for a magazine. And I think I believe the way it works is that you get one magazine per 2 months. So I believe that's how it works, which is why you only get 6 magazines in a year, is that it's good for 2 months. I know some other magazines of different products, you know, will do that as well. There was a crossbow magazine that I used to get, and that would come out seasonally. So technically, there'd only be 4 magazines that would come out, one for the spring, summer, fall, winter, blah blah blah. So, but anyways, I hope the audio is working. I hope the visual is at least somewhat decent, and there's no like jittery or lag. I know through StreamYards might be an issue without the Wi-Fi booster. If I don't have the Wi-Fi booster, I don't think I'm going to be able to do StreamYards, which is why that was a good and important test for the first Outlaw Saloon live stream. And I know it's kind of late in the stream to be talking about why I named it Outlaw Saloon, because I don't honestly believe I even talked about it on the first one, considering I didn't expect anybody to hop on, but there was a bunch of people that hopped on. I just got sidetracked, that's all. But Outlaw Saloon, so Outlaw, I wanted to keep with that, because I really do feel like in many ways that word epitomizes me in a nutshell in my life. An outlaw is usually one that goes against the grain, doesn't play nice with others, does his own thing, usually to benefit himself, but that particular key point is not me. Because I very much am empathetic towards other people, and I do care a lot, about people, even people I don't know. Ray Gregory, for one, yeah, he's in and out of the hospital lately. They don't know what's going on with him, and I had some short communique with him via posting on one of his videos. And go check out his channel, Ray Gregory Rides. So shout out Ray. Prayers, and I mean it. That's one thing you'll get out of me. If I say I'm praying for you, man, when the camera shuts down, I'm on bended knee praying for you. So, and that goes with anybody else. It's not just words. You got to have actions backing it. So, anyways, I'm praying for him and whatnot, but yeah, see, I got off topic again. I don't know. Oh yes, the name Outlaw Saloon. So Outlaw Saloon. So outlaw, right? So that's kind of how I feel. I'm an outlaw, lone wolf, if you will. Feels like a lone wolf at times. I believe that my extended family, which revolves around the duct tape community, of course you got Ray and Moto, and I can't name all the names because with my head issues, I can't remember a lot, but old Mac, Rob's neighbor, Dave from Australia, a brother from down under. So I consider them sort of extended family, right? And it just grows more and more. And the fact that they not only welcome me with open arms, um, I'm trying to repay them by opening up a saloon virtually. BYOB, man. Okay, because I've been dry for 23 years, so you ain't gonna see any drink in my hand. But I don't mind being the bartender, right? So a place to gather, especially when their live streams aren't happening, but maybe during a time where people are on, they'll go ahead and see that, oh, hey, Rascal's live. All right, well, we'll pop on there. The saloon's open, as it were. So putting those together, and I don't. I think my identity on YouTube definitely has morphed and evolved over time. Like I said earlier, I went from Rascal to American Outlaw when I first bought the 74, and went back to Rascal. There was a lot of like there was a lot of depression, PTSD, that just it tripped me up, and I needed to just reboot. But the way my brain reboots is usually through deleting everything, right? So picture this, old school, refragging a hard drive, right? Or defragging, not refragging, defragging a hard drive, right? Getting it back to square one. Um, that's usually how, since the accident in the military, that's usually how my brain reacts to things, where it forces a reset. But when it did that, I still held on to that. Wow, Moto was still contacting me during that time, and it just it meant the world to me. Um, so at that point, that's when I started realizing that I don't need to change my identity to fit in or to be something that I'm not. And at 50 years old, I already knew this, but when you're in it, when you're in that depressive slump, you don't think straight, right? So this is only post getting back out of that slump that I was able to hindsight everything and just basically reflect. So I did. I reflected, and I was like, I don't need to create a new identity. My identity just evolved, and I just need to ride with it instead of fighting it. Just go with the flow. And that's when I came back, and yeah, I'm still Rascal. My grandfather named me that when I was 8 years old on the CB. And I was riding in Dad's '68 Ford pickup, and we were listening to, what the hell was it? It was my favorite song, Elvira by the Oak Ridge Boys, and it was on 8-track because his '68 had an 8-track player. And I played that song to death every time we were in that. But he'd have a CB on him, and I'd be talking to Grandpa, and he called me Rascal because I kept getting into shit. Yeah, you little rascal. So the Rascal was it, and that's how the title came. And then of course I started into the motorcycle world decades later, right? Late in life, as it were, and here we are. I created. I'm lost for words today, but I created this other identity, if you will, American Outlaw. And in doing so, I met these great people, and they knew me as American Outlaw, but I was still Rascal, right? And I know this probably sounds confusing, and nobody gives two Twinkies about it, but you know, uh, later on, my kids will watch this. When I'm worm food. Uh, and they'll understand. They'll understand and be like, "Oh yeah, I remember Dad telling me about that." So, uh, I said, you know, technically, I'm both. I am an American outlaw uh, for reasons I've already explained earlier, but I'm also still Rascal. I said, so why can't the identities be blended and not separate? Um, and you know, stop thinking that you're instantly a biker now because you own a bike. You haven't even I've never rode a bike in my entire life, not even on the back of a bike. I've sat on numerous bikes. Uh, and my, okay, so I'll tell you about my dream bike in a second. So, anyways, I blended it. So now it's Rascal, in parentheses, the American Outlaw. So that's why my name is the way it is today. And in the foreseeable future, I don't expect it to really change because I believe I've hit that sweet spot upstairs where I've come to terms with, you know, I'm both, right? I am that 8-year-old rascal and a 50-year-old American outlaw. So I, I wasn't going to go into like story mode, but you know, there it is. And I was going to say something else. My dream bike. Here goes nothing, right? Most people, their dream bikes are like a Ducati, R1, 37 Harley. I mean, whatever, right? And you would be like, I totally get it. I totally see why that would be your dream bike. Absolutely. Here's mine. An 87 Yamaha 750 Virago. It was one bike that a friend of mine's uncle owned, and we always called him Uncle Dean. He's not my real uncle, but we always called him that because we went out and drank, smoked and toked, and we just had a blast. We worked on cars all the time over there. Well, that was his bike, was a 750 Virago, and I used to ask him all the time. Every time I go into that, you know, everybody would be, you know, saying howdies and whatnot, and I would too. I'd be like, hey. I said, hey, I see you got your bike out, you know, out of the shop because you had to move the car and, you know, to work on it tonight. And I just says, hey, can I go sit on it? And it was just, I geeked out. Like that bike just was awesome to me at that time, and so there's a lot of like history with that particular year, that particular make, model, so on and so forth. Um, and I'd love to get my grubby little paws on an 87 Yamaha 750 Virago. I would absolutely crap my pants if I ever got a hold of one, and I wouldn't even care what condition, because I'd rebuild that sucker anyways. Preferably, I would like one rideable, right? So, anyways, and I'm gonna have to come to terms with that too, eventually, whether it's the next year or in 2 years. But I got to look at getting a usable bike for myself again, considering my son wants, or it has now because I gave it to him, the 74. So that no longer is my bike. That's my boy's bike. So now I'm going to have to get one of my own. Because I look forward to the day, if God's willing, I'll be able to, physically, mentally, whatever, to ride alongside my boy. So goals, future goals, I guess, you know, long-term plans, things like that. And we know how most of those end up. You know, I got so many friggin' health issues going on, it's insane. Like one that came up at the beginning of the year, they found a mass in my brain, which is right in here behind everything inside the brain tissue itself. Now, you would think when they said it's the size of a pea, or an enlarged pea, I guess, that's causing all these issues, the dizziness, the eyesight issues, the headaches, the migraines, I've come close to just passing out numerous times. But now, instead of going to a, what do they call it? Instead of sending me to a neurologist, they've already had tons of people in and out of VA look at the scans, because I've had CT scans, and then they did an MRI scan on it with and without contrast. Oh, I might have to get off. I think the family's invading. So anyways, now it's going to a neurosurgeon. So their intent is to either drill a hole and take it out or whatever. But I'm going to say goodbye, and we'll catch you on the next one, guys. What an exit, right? All right.